Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Impact Branding TV with Zahrina, and that's me. Today I have Tramosljanin from the About You group. Welcome, Nada.
Hi, Zahrina.
Hi. Look, I want to talk about branding with you today, personal branding, but on a different tangent. We're going to talk about, everybody, the inner critic and how that can actually have a positive and negative, effect on your personal brand as a business person, entrepreneur, coach, author. So let's talk about it. Tell me about what's your take of the inner critic?
So the inner critic is the voice that is inside your head that tells you that maybe you're not good enough. And it's that voice that can wake you up at 3 a.m. and have you scared thinking, what am I doing? Can I do this? It creates self-doubt. It can create burnout and an inner chaos that really gets in the way of people doing their best and staying focused. And what happens a lot is people find that so stressful that eventually they burn out and they give up.
And we don't want that, do we?
No.
It's like having that little person on your shoulder going, you're not good enough.
Absolutely. It's like driving with the handbrake on. It just gets in the way. And when you're working for yourself, you really have to be your best.
Yeah. I mean, how often do you see that in the type of people who you deal with?
It is incredibly common, and looking back, I've got over 10,000 hours of hours with clients working with them, and the theme is very much the same. It is the self-doubt that people have. It's that negative dialogue that keeps getting in the way. So it's incredibly common, and I work with high achievers who use that fear of success sometimes to get what they're doing, but it comes from a very stressful place. So you can be successful with the inner critic, but it does create burnout. And I help people change that to a collaborative dialogue where you are working with yourself. And once you do that, once you get out of your own way, oh my goodness, things get easier. Because when you work for yourself, there isn't that team around you very often that can do other things. You really have to do so much for yourself. So I help people get out of their own way and focus on where they want to go.
Oh, that's great. Nada's an interesting lady, really interesting. She's I've photographed Nada. I've had the privilege. She's such a beautiful lady in front of the camera, very dynamic, got amazing presence, I tell you. It's like, I don't know, just such amazing, like a Channel 9 type of newsreader presence, She's very talented. more than a talking head, really. But, there's a serious side to this because you can't do what you do without you experiencing this.
Absolutely.
So what's your story?
Absolutely. And for all those things you say, and this was, people thought I had such an amazing life. I mean, I had a dream job. I flew around the world. I stayed in beautiful hotels. And all of that couldn't change the fact that inside I felt anxious, depressed and empty. And that just kept getting in the way. And I felt like a fraud because people thought I was so confident. And eventually I just started to hide myself away. It was just too hard to be me. And I went everywhere trying to get help to the point where I would see people 2 or 3 times a week. So I eventually learnt how to change my inner dialogue by myself. And once I did that, I couldn't believe how much things changed. Everything got easier. And I remember thinking, you know what, if this happened to me, I'm not the only one.
Yes.
And so what I decided was I had to be that person that I was looking for all those years. And that was not someone who was an expert on me, but someone who could show me how I work so I could become my own expert. And I became that. I started to study. I changed my life. I quit full-time work at age 47 to start this business because I'm so passionate about people realising that they are more than their fears and they can move past. I love what I do.
Oh, that's just beautiful because, geez, isn't it liberating?
Oh,
Look at that! You just feel that.
It was for me. That I used to yell at myself. I mean, some people aren't really aware of their inner critic. They're only aware of it when things start to go really wrong. But for me, it was on all the time.
But we all have an inner critic, I guess, to an extent, right? But is it anything to do with our upbringing?
Look, I like to think of it as the factory setting that we come with. We all have this negative at some point. It very much can depend on how you've been brought up. But I've got clients who've had a beautiful upbringing, but they still have self-doubt, because this is a voice that we all need to, at some point, we need to take ownership of it, and we need to retape it and rewrite it to be something that we work with. But it's incredibly common.
I want to go a little bit deeper into the inner critic, because is it the thing that's in our mind saying you can't, you're not good enough, or is it something? Is it just a thought, or is it a constant thought? Is it a constant cloud that we're living under of a thought? Is it?
It's actually on 24 hours a day.
Oh.
Yes, if you have an inner critic, that's on quietly or loudly, depending on what you're doing, and that actually creates a chemistry. We know what it feels like when we're in love. We can feel like we're not touching the ground, and everything's bright and shiny. And if we've got an inner critic, which is really fear-based, that's on all the time, and that's going to affect your energy levels, your ability to bounce back. The fact that I've changed mine completely, it's not there at all, so it's actually not necessary. And for me, my health and productivity just skyrocketed.
Amazing.
Because I couldn't believe how much I was working against myself.
So, when people have gotten rid of the inner critic, what are they like?
Well, it was interesting that I had a particular...
Are they like angels?
Oh, it doesn't stop you from... life is there's enough going on in life. It's messy, it's scary, it's challenging. I mean, I was nervous having this interview today, but I didn't let it paralyze me. What it does is it makes things appropriate. So, something that's uncomfortable, you can actually... you're more willing to try, because you don't have that fear of failure and that humiliation that you've got going, I don't want to do this. It just makes life easier. And I had a particular client, I have to share this, it was so funny. She was so, she would just worry all the time as if that was an action. She was going to prepare herself for the worst by imagining the worst. And we did a lot of work to change that, and she came back and she said, I cannot believe how much time I've spent worrying. And she goes, you know what, I've got so much time now, I don't know what to do with it. And we both burst out laughing, because what a problem to have, because we've now got all this time. How much time we waste wondering the worst is incredible.
Oh, it's like a black spiral, down.
Absolutely.
You just got to look for the up. Now, tell me, in 3, what's your top lesson? The top 3 nuggets, golden nuggets.
First
I like
that. First one, listen to every word you say to yourself. Really start to pay attention to that voice inside your head. And even if it's for an experiment for a week, make sure every single thing you say is collaborative and supportive. And notice at the end of the week how differently you feel, how more intact and how resilient that week is for you. The second tip is we need to lose the word failure. There's so much being spoken about fail fast, fail quickly. You know what, failure is actually a negative judgment.
It is, isn't it?
It's not necessary. We don't have to have a relationship with that. There's outcomes and consequences. And as a business person, you have to keep action. You have to keep moving. So always think of, if something doesn't work, you have to immediately look at it and go, okay, what can I pick up here? What can I change? And you have to lose failure.
Yeah.
The third tip is to really check in, and this is something to do often, is to check into why you're doing what you do. If you're coming from have to, that has a completely different energy.
I have to do this,
we
have to do that.
We all know what it's like when we have to do something, and we've all been put in a situation where we've had to, and we know what that feels like. We need freedom, we need a sense of choice to give us the best version of us, and have to belongs in survival mode.
Yes,
I've
I get
got
it.
to do this, and
Got to do it now.
Find your reason for wanting to do something, and you step into thrive.
Yeah. Oh, that was gold. Say that again.
So, have to will keep you stuck in survival mode.
Yeah.
Wanting to will get you into thrive. So, and that's just doing the very same thing, but for a better reason. And for me, my motivation for anything is I'm here to learn. I'm here to be bigger at the end of my life than when I started. And that means every single experience is for me to grow and learn. So that's my motivation. It doesn't have to be a big reason. It just needs to be a really clean reason.
Oh, that's a beautiful. Oh my gosh, I feel uplifted. And there is no inner critic bouncing off my shoulders or yours. I can't see anything.
We don't have time for that.
No time.
No.
Oh my gosh. No, they're not brooding on our shoulders, are they? Look, everybody, thank you for turning up and being here to, and spend time to share all your wisdom. I've absolutely loved having you on my show. And thank you everybody for joining us. And I'm sure you've gotten some great tips from Nada. She's just awesome. And you know what? Go forth and get rid of that inner critic. Yeah, go forth and enjoy yourself and have a great week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.